All right, so today we'll be talking about quadratic functions again, and some of the concepts that we're going to talk about today, you have already learned it before, right? When we talk about transformation, way back at the beginning of the semester, we kind of talk about it a little bit, but today we're going to talk a little bit more about forms and attributes. All right. So quadratic functions. Let me just do a really quick review. So quadratic functions means whenever you have a graph and the graph looks like a letter U. If it looks like a letter U, that is the quadratic functions. Doesn't matter if it's right side up or upside down. All right. So if you see a letter U, that would be a quadratic function. And then earlier during the semester, we talked about transformation. You have to shift the graph left and right, up and down. So today's stuff is kind of similar to that. So I want you to be able to identify some of the attributes of quadratic functions. So there are certain things on a quadratic function I want you to be able to point out right away. Whenever I'm giving you a quadratic function, I need you to be able to spot these out right away without even thinking. So the first one is the vertex. So the vertex is the tip of the graph. So that means it's going to be right here. All right, the tip of the graph, we call it the vertex. So that one should be pretty easy. The tip of the graph is the vertex. All right, and then the second thing is the axis of symmetry. The axis of symmetry. So the axis of symmetry is the line where you can cut graphs in halves. Right here in the middle. So this line right here in the middle, it will cut the graphs in halves. And this line right here, we'll call it axis of symmetry. So one thing I want to point out is that since the axis of symmetry, it splits the graphs into the left and the right half, it will also go through the vertex right here. It will go through the vertex. So the vertex and the axis of symmetry, it will always intercept right here. So the vertex and axis of symmetry, they will intercept right here always. All right, and then after that, there is the x-intercept. So the x-intercept is where the line crosses the x-axis. So for this graph, it will be right here and right here. These 2 points, we'll call them x-intercept. It is where it crosses the x-axis. And then there are other names for it. There are other names. We can call it zeros, roots, or solutions. So x-intercept, there are a lot of terms for it. We can call it x-intercept. We can call it zeros. We can call them roots. We can call them solutions. So all 4 of these are correct. All right, all 4 of these refers to the x-intercept where it crosses the x-axis. So in my class, I'm going to use all 4 of these terms. All right, I will use all 4 of them. And then the last one is the y-intercept. Y-intercept is where the line crosses the y-axis. So on this graph, it will be right here. This is the y-intercept, where it crosses the y-axis. And the good thing is there is no other nicknames for it. It's just y-intercept. So unlike the x-intercept, y-intercept has no other terms. So that's good. All right, so once again, there are 4 spots on this graph. I need you to be able to find it right away whenever I'm giving you a quadratic function. So the vertex is a tip. The axis of symmetry is what splits them in half. And then the x-intercept is where it crosses the x-axis. And the y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. All right, so let's find all 4 of these. All right, let's find all 4 of them. So for the vertex is the tip. That means right here. So the location of the vertex right here, the location, the order pair is going to be -3 and then +4. -3 and then +4. That would be the location of the vertex. And for the vertex, we'll assign 2 letters. We'll assign 2 letters for location. We'll call them H and K. So the H and the K refers to the number right here and right here. So that means H is -3 and then K is +4. And then notice that H is also the axis of symmetry as well. So the axis of symmetry is what cuts the graphs in half right here. This is the axis of symmetry, is where it cuts the graphs in half, and it is at -3. So like I say, the vertex and the axis of symmetry, they will intercept. They share the same x value. They share the same x value. All right, after that, we have to find x-intercept. We have to find the x-intercept where it crosses the x-axis. So it crossed the x-axis right here and right here. These 2 are the x-intercept. And once again, we will assign a letter for these 2 spots. We will assign 2 letters for these 2 spots. So I'm going to call one of them P, and then I'll call the other one Q. And they are interchangeable. You can totally swap them. It doesn't matter which one is P, which one is Q. So they are interchangeable. Doesn't matter. But usually, people like to put the P on the left, the Q on the right. And then let's find the location of P and Q. So P is -5 and 0. And then Q is -1 and 0. And then P also refers to this number right here. This is your P. We don't really care about the 0 on the right because we know it's going to be 0 because it's on the x-axis. So this number right here will also refer to P. And then down here, this number is the Q, so -1. And then the last one is the y-intercept right here, the y-intercept, where it crosses the y-axis. Where it crosses the y-axis. That means right here. This is the y-intercept. And once again, we have a letter for the y-intercept, just like every other spot. We are going to call it C. So we'll assign a letter. We're going to call it the letter C. And then the location of this y-intercept is 0 and -5. 0 and -5. That's where the y-intercept at. And this number right here is the C we are talking about. So it is -5. All right, so I want you guys to be able to identify the vertex, axis of symmetry, x-intercept, and the y-intercept on any graphs that I'm giving you. All right, on any graphs I'm giving you, I want you to be able to identify these 4 points. Oh, Jefferson, you just got here? That's fine. Click on the link, go to Quadratic. All right, those of you who got here late, I need you guys to click on the link, go to Quadratic. I'm missing quite a lot of you guys. I'm missing 10 students. So Gabriella, Vanessa, David, Gabriel, Adrian, Loza, Pablo. Come on, guys. Click on the link. Go to Quadratic, please. All right, moving on. Now I want you guys to give this a try. All right, so give this a try. So there's a problem on Quadratic. I want you guys to try this. So I'm giving you a graph. That's the line right here. I want you to spot out those 4 points that I just talked about. All right. So find the vertex. Find the vertex, and then tell me the location of the vertex. The 2 numbers, the h and the k. So find out the location of the vertex, the h and the k, and then the h also happens to be the axis of symmetry, anyways. And then find the x-intercept where it crosses the x-axis. And then find the location. And then the last one is y-intercept where it crosses the y-axis. Tell me the location. Give me the order pair. All right, I want you guys to go ahead and go to Quadratic and then work on this. All right, it shouldn't be very hard. So do me a favor, give it a try. So label them on the graph, and then also tell me the numbers. All right, I also want the numbers. Fill in the blanks. Fill in the numbers. All right, so everyone scan the vertex. I see quite a lot of you guys got the vertex correct, so that's good. That's good. So vertex is right here. Vertex is a tip. So the tip of the graph, that's the vertex, and the location of this vertex is going to be 3 and -1. 3 and -1. So be careful on the -1. All right, this is below the x-axis. So the x-axis is right here. This is the x-axis, and the vertex is below the x-axis, so it's below 0. Below 0 means this is a -1. All right, the next one, can you guys get me the x-intercept where it crosses x-axis? There are 2 x-intercepts. All right, Nathan, you got it. Thank you. That's it. Javier, you got it as well. That's good. That's good. All right, Gabby, I see you mark it correct. Now just find the order pair and then you're good. Hat, can you double check your P? Double check the one of the x-intercepts, the one on the left, the P. All right, so most of you guys label it correctly, but I think, is it maybe you guys don't know how to find the location? So the x-intercept is, one of them is right here. The other one is right here. One of them is P, the other one is Q. All right, so to find the location of x-intercept, let's do the P right here. Let's do the P right here. So for this one, check out what number is it on the x-axis. So on the x-axis right here, you are looking at a 2. You are looking at a 2. So that means the location is going to be 2 and then 0. 2 and 0. You have to find out at which number on the x-axis that it touched. All right, it touched the 2 on the x-axis. So this is 2 and 0. All right, and the other one right here, look at what number on the x-axis is it crossing right here. Look at what number. 4 and 0, yes. That's it, you got it. So that is 4 and 0. That would be 4 and 0. And then P is 2, the Q is 4. All right, the last one, the y-intercept, where it crosses the y-axis. So the y-axis is right here. This is the y-axis. And then it will cross the y-axis right here, at this point right here. At this point, it crossed the y-axis. So find the ordered pair. Oh, I think most of you guys got this one. Good. All right, Nathan, you're off by a little bit. Javier, it's the other way around. You got the X and the Y mixed up. It's the other way around. So the X value comes first. So the X value is 0, and then the Y value is positive 8. 0 and 8. All right, so that means the C equals to 8. C equals to 8. All right, so let's do one more. Let's do one more. I want you guys to practice a little bit. Make sure you guys understand, how to read the graph, right? So let's do another one. All right, so for this particular graph, do the same thing, all right? Find vertex, x-intercept, y-intercept, and then find all the ordered pairs. All right, Nathan, doing good. That's good. Hat, the x and the y is the other way around. The x and the y is the other way around. So x value comes first, all right? X value comes first. So that means there's a 1, there's 2, and then there's a 3. So right here, the x value comes first. So 3. And then after that will be right, and then after that you will look at the k, which is positive 2. Okay, that's it. 2 x-intercept. Right, the x-intercept is where it crosses the x-axis, guys. So where it crosses the x-axis. Some of you guys put it too low. So the x-axis is this one right here. This is the x-axis. This is the x-axis, and then this is the y-axis right here. So for the x-intercept, where it crosses the x-axis is right here and right here. You're going to have to estimate, all right? You guys are going to have to estimate because the graph is not it doesn't cross at a whole number, so it's like right here. All right, so it's like in between 1 and 2. It's in between 1 and 2, and then same for the other x-intercept is in between 4 and 5. So just do your best estimation. All right, do your best estimation. And then the last one is the y-intercept. Oh wow, Nathan, you got it. That's it. Thank you. Okay, that's it. You got it. Thank you. Okay, Heidi, I think you got it. That's it. Javier, stop for a second. Stop for a second. So at this point, you have to do the x value first. So the first number is the x value. So the x value, we are looking at 1.6, and then the y value is 0. All right, so it is 1.6 and 0, not the other way around. So x value comes first. So in other words, you always read these numbers first before you do the y values. So you will read whatever is on the x-axis first. So read all of the numbers on the x-axis first, and then you will read the y. Or yeah, the other way around. The other way around. All right, but you get the concept. You label the location. You know, you label the x-intercept correct. So it's just that when you write it out, make sure it's x value first, and then the y value. All right, so the rest of you guys, can you guys give it a try? I don't want you guys to be sitting there and doing nothing. So just give it a try, all right? Jose, Marlon, Adrian, Paola, Pablo, another Adrian, DeCarvianta, Jefferson, Trayvon. So give it a try. Oh, make sure this is -7. Make sure it is -7. The y-intercept is -7. All right, let me go over this. All right, let me go over this. So the vertex is the tip of the graph. The tip of the graph. The location is 3 and 2. And then 3 is the H, 2 is the K. The tip of the graph is 3 and 2. The H is 3, the K is 2. And the 3 also happens to be the axis of symmetry, where you cut graphs in halves right here. That's the axis of symmetry as well. So when you find a vertex, you automatically find the axis of symmetry as well. And then the x-intercept, the P is right here. and then the Q is right here. So just, estimate. So this is around maybe 1.5 and 0, and then the other one 4.5 and 0. So if you get something close to that, you're good. And then the P is 1.5, the Q is 4.5. So we only care about the X values right here. This is the P and the Q. We only care about the X values. We don't really care about the Y. All right, and then the last one, y-intercept. Y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. So that means it touches the y-axis right here. So that is the y-intercept. C. Location. The location is 0 and -7. 0 and -7. So the C equals to -7. We only care about -7. We don't really care about a 0. All right, so those of you who gave it a try, I think you guys did really, really good. All right, so I appreciate that you guys trying this out. All right, so moving on. All right, so this is something that I want you guys to copy it down. All right, make sure you copy this down. So there are 3 forms of quadratic functions. There are 3 forms. Make sure you copy this down very precisely. All right, don't make any mistakes on these forms. All right, make sure you copy this down. Either copy it down on your journal's notebook or take a picture with your cell phone. All right, so there are 3 forms. First one is the vertex form. The vertex form is probably the one that we talked about the most. I mean, ever since the beginning of the semester, we talked about transformation, and we always use the vertex form. So the vertex form, when you look at it, it gives you the H and the K. It gives you the H and the K. And the H and the K, they are the vertex. So when you have a graph, the H and the K is the vertex. So vertex form gives you the vertex. And then the second form is the standard form. Standard form, it gives you the C right here, which is the y-intercept. It gives you the y-intercept. And then the last form, this is the factor form. And then depends on your teacher. Sometimes also some people will call it the intercept form. Intercept form. So some people call it the factor form. Some people call it the intercept form. But it's the same thing, all right? So on factor form, it gives you the P and the Q, which is right here, the x-intercept right here. You have the P, you have the Q. So all 3 of these forms, they have their pros and cons. And every form gives you one piece of information. Every form shows you only one piece of information, but not all of them. So vertex form gives you the vertex. It literally tells you like, hey, the vertex is right here. And then on the standard form, it will give you the y-intercept. It tells you that your line is going to cross the y-axis right here. And then the factor form tells you the p and the q. So every form is good and bad in some ways. All right, so let's look at vertex form first. All right, let's look at vertex form first. All right, right here, I'm giving you a quadratic function. It is in vertex form. I want you to identify the order pairs of the vertex. All right, so I want you to be able to identify the order pair, the location of the vertex. So in other words, I'm asking you what is the h and then what is the k. What is the h and then what is the k? So the h is going to be -4. So h is opposite of what you see right here. If you see a +4, you need a -4. So the h is -4. And then the k is +4. So k, what you see is what you get. If you see a +4, you will have a +4 right here. All right, now we're going to find this point right here, -4 and +4. So -4 is right here. And then +4 is right here. So this is the vertex, the tip of the graph. It's right here. And then after that, you will look at if the graph is right side up or upside down. So way back at the beginning of the semester, we talk about what the A to the graph. So right here, at the very front is the number A. And if you don't see a number, we'll assume that number to be a 1. And then with the negative sign in the front, you are looking at A equals to -1. A equals to -1. So when A is -1, so I hope you guys still remember this thing right here. 1, 0, and then 1. So positive number is right side up. Negative number is upside down. And then greater than 1 is narrow. Less than -1 is also narrow. In between them, this is going to be wide. So this number line we talked about, you have to find where is -1. So when A is -1, you are looking at right here. So right here, that means it is not wide, it is not narrow, it's neither. And it is also upside down, right? It's upside down because A is -1. So upside down because A is negative. It is not wide, it is not narrow, it is neither because A is equals to 1 or -1. So we need a graph that is upside down, not wide, not narrow. And then the graph is pointing up, so that means we have a maximum. We have a maximum because the graph is pointing up. All right, there's one more thing we need to do. We have to identify the y-intercept of the function. All right, identify the y-intercept of the function. So this curve that I put right here, this is just a very rough estimation. All right, this is a rough draft. It's not accurate. So if you want to make it look super accurate, you're going to have to find the y-intercept. All right, so you want to find exactly at which number does it cross the y-axis. We have to find the y-axis, so we know exactly at which number does it cross the y-axis. So to do this, we are going to have to set x to 0. Set x to 0, solve for y. So that means up here, set x to 0, and then go ahead and solve for y. So y equals to negative 0 plus 4, and then square, and then plus 4, like this. So I set the x to 0, and then now I'm going to solve this and then find out what y is. So y equals to negative 0 plus 4 is 4. And then 4 squared is 16. And then negative 16 plus 4 is negative 12. So y equals to negative 12 when x is 0. So when I set x to 0, the y is negative 12. And that's your y-intercept. That's where the graph's going to cross the y-axis. So if I want to draw a really accurate graph, so 11, negative 11, and then negative 12 right here. If I want to draw a really good looking graph, your graph is going to have to cross the y-axis at negative 12, like this. So that is where the y-intercept is at. It's at 0 and negative 12. So y-intercept, you will always have the x equals to 0. Right? The x is always going to be 0 because anything that is on the y-axis, the x is 0. So all you have to do is plug in 0 right here, and then solve for y. All right, now I want you guys to try this problem out, all right? I want you guys to try this problem out. So go to Quadratic, and then work on this problem. So I'm giving you this quadratic function. This is a vertex form. I want you to identify the order pairs of the vertex. So find the H and the K. Find the H and the K. But the tricky part is the H is opposite of what you see. All right. This is going to be opposite of what you see. So be very careful when you put the H in. All right. The H is opposite of what you see. But then the K, what you see is what you get. All right. The K, what you see is what you get. So after that, find the vertex on the graph, find it, and then label it. Find it on the graph and then label it. All right, only the H is opposite, guys. Only the H is opposite. So that means this is -1. The K, you don't have to change it. It's going to stay the same, all right? It's going to stay the same. So we are looking at -1 and -4. -1 and -4. So go ahead and find -1 and -4. So -1 is right here, and then -4 is right here. So that means the tip, the vertex, is going to be right here. -1 and -4. So I can tell you that even I will make a mistakes on H and K all the time, not just one. Whenever I'm doing problems, sometimes I try to rush it, I will mess up on the H. All right, after that, you have to think about, is the graph right side up or upside down? So that means you have to look at the number in the very front. So this number tells you if the graph is right side up or upside down. And if you don't see a number, it's going to be a 1. It's going to be a positive 1 because you don't see a number. So now you're going to have to look back. You're going to have to look back at the little number line that I drew earlier. So the number line that looks like this. So positive number is right side up. Negative number is upside down. And then greater than 1 is narrow. Less than -1 is also narrow. In between them is going to be wide. All right, so look at this number line. So try to memorize it, all right? Try to memorize it. Look at this number line. So we are looking at A, and if we are missing a number, A is positive 1. So that means on the number line, A is right here. A is right here, which also tells you that your graph is going to be right side up. Right side up. Right side up because A is positive. Right side up because A is positive. And then it is in between wide and narrow. It is in between wide and narrow. So that means it is neither because A equals to 1 or -1. Because A equals to 1 or -1. All right, and then the graph, let's try to do a really rough draft. All right, we need a graph that is right side up. So that means your graph should look something like this. All right, it should look something like this. Right side up. And it's not wide, it's not narrow, it's in between. All right, now we have to find out exactly at which number, at which point does it cross the y-axis. We have to find out what is the y-intercept. Because since this is a rough draft, you can't really tell where's the y-intercept at. This is a rough draft, all right? So don't trust your own rough draft, because the graph, it could be right here, it could be right here, or it could be right here. You can't really tell exactly which one is the correct y-intercept. You have to find it. All right, so let's find out where is the y-intercept. You have to set x to 0. Set x to 0, and then solve for y. Set x to 0, and then go ahead and solve for y. So I'm going to put it right here. Set x to 0. And then solve for y. So 0 plus 1 is 1. And then 1 squared is 1. And then 1 minus 4 is negative 3. Negative 3. So that is your y-intercept. That is your y-intercept. So your y-intercept is when x is 0, y is negative 3. So that means right here. Right here. So it will cross the y-axis like this. So set x to 0, solve for y, right? Set x to 0, solve for y. All right, guys, I'll give you guys half a minute. Can you guys please copy this down? You're going to need to have a copy of this, all right? Copy this down. All right, let's do one more. All right, so right here is just like the one that we did, all right? So looking at this vertex form, find the vertex. Think about it is right side up, upside down. Find the y-intercept. So go ahead and go to Quadratic and give it a try, all right? Give it a try. I will give you guys maybe 5 minutes. Go ahead and go to Quadratic, give it a try. All right, guys. The H is opposite of what you see. The H right here, this is opposite of what you see. So if you see a negative right here, that means you need a positive. The H is opposite of what you see. If you see a negative, that means it is a positive. And then the K, what you see is what you get, all right? The K, what you see is what you get. All right, so the vertex is 3 and 2, all right, 3 and 2. So that means it's going to be right here, 3 and then 2. Good morning. So that means right here, 3 and 2. That's the vertex. All right, now think about, is this right side up or upside down? That means you have to look at what is A. Look at what number 8 is. Wow, Javier, you're doing really good. That's good. Keep going. So Javier, work on the parenthesis first. So you work it from the inside out. Work the parenthesis first. Keep everything outside of the parenthesis for now. All right, after that, you will work on the square. So work on the square. So that means you have to do -3 and then square that. All right, guys, I want you guys to be working on this. So stop sitting around and doing nothing. So get on PUDAC, work on this. Jose, Trayvon, Nathan, Domingo, Pablo, Adrian, Marlon, Yada Adrian, D. Carvianta, Paola. Let's start working on this. Oh, Javier, stop for a second. Stop for a second. Can you take a look at my screen? Take a look at my screen. All right, take a look at this right here. All right, so you will work on -3 squared. So right here. So when you have to do -3 squared, notice that the negative sign is also in square. The negative sign is also being squared, which means you have to do -3 times itself. including the sign. And then the two negatives becomes a positive, and then 3 times 3 is 9. So that means just this part is positive 9, all right? Just this part is positive 9, but then the negative sign right here will bring it back to a negative because of this negative sign right here. It will brings it back to negative. So that means you will have negative 9 plus 2. Negative 9 plus 2. And then negative 9 plus 2 is negative 7. So you will have your final answer that is negative 7. And if you look at it, let's see if it makes sense, all right? Let's see if it makes sense. 0 and negative 7 is right here. This is 0 and negative 7. We need it to be upside down. We need it to be upside down. So that means it will go like this, all right? It will go like this, right? But if you that was 11. That was positive 11 that you get earlier, right? That was positive 11. Positive 11 is up here, is way up here. The graph is upside down. The graph has to be upside down because of the negative, right? The negative makes it upside down. The graph is upside down. You can't have the y-intercept up here. It does not make sense, all right? It doesn't make sense. So for the graph, you have y-intercept is negative. So if the graph is upside down, the y-intercept has to be down here, not up there. But if it's up there, the graph is going to be right side up. All right, well done, Javier. You are getting really good at this. Jefferson, stop for a second. Stop for a second. Look at this right here. Look at my screen, please. So when you are doing this part right here, when you're doing this part, -3 squared, so -3, and then the whole thing is being squared. That means the negative sign is also being squared, all right? The negative sign is also being squared. So you have -3 times -3, which will get you a positive 9, all right? Positive 9. So instead of having a negative right here, you will have a, there you go. Okay, good, good. All right, now you solve this part right here. -9 plus 2. -9 plus 2. -9 plus 2. You will find the y-intercept. All right, good. That's it. Gabby, yeah, well done. Yep, this is it. All right, that's good, Heidi. Thank you. Can you sketch the graph head? All the numbers are good, but I want you to sketch the graph. All right, maybe another 2 minutes. Let's try to wrap it up. All right, the graph looks pretty good. That's good enough. That's good enough. I know it's really hard to graph on the touch screen. All right, let me go over this. I'm gonna go over this. So most of you guys who are trying, you guys got it correct. All right. So thank you for trying. So looking at the vertex form, H and the K is right here, but make sure you have to make it into a positive because the H is opposite of what you see. All right, opposite of what you see. The K, what you see is what you get. So you have the vertex right here. This is the vertex. And then after that, let's look at the A right here. The A is -1. So negative number tells you that the graph is upside down. That means you know the graph is going to look something like this, all right? It's going to look something like that. It is neither, not wide, not narrow, because it equals to -1. All right, and then the y-intercept, we have to find out exactly at which number does it touch the y-axis so we can get a better graph. So I'm going to set x to 0, plug in a 0 right here, and then solve for y. All right, solve for y. Like this, replace x with a 0, solve for y. All right, so I see a couple of you guys make some minor mistakes right here. You will solve it from the inside out, all right? Solve it from the inside out. So that means take care of the parentheses first. 0 minus 3 is -3. And then take care of the square. So you will have to do a -3 square. -3 square, you will get a +9. I think some of you guys forgot about squaring the negative sign right here. All right. So you got to understand you have to square the negative sign as well. So that means you're doing -3 times -3. The two negatives becomes a positive. All right, now you have the 9, and then with the negative in front, you have a -9 plus 2. So y equals to -7. So that means we know the graph is going to cross the y-axis at -7 right here. Like this. So when x is 0, y is -7. And your graph looks something like this. All right, make sure you guys are copying this down. If you copy this down, today's homework is going to be so easy. So I'll give you guys half a minute. Either copy it down or take a picture of a cell phone. All right, so we are going to stop right here. Let me show you where's today's homework. All right, so today's homework, you're going to go to the hub. Go to the hub and then go to Algebra 2, go to plans, and then it's going to be right here, week of November 30th. Week of November 30. I know the date is off. And the quadratic functions homework is right here. So click on the homework right here. And then, oh, wait, no, let me see. Hold on a second. Let me make sure this is the correct one. Yes, this is the correct one. This is it. All right, so click right here and then click download. All right. So click on it and then click download. Download it on your laptop and then work on it. After you guys are done, upload it onto the hub. All right. Click answer assignment. Click this green button, answer assignment, and then click add files. So upload it onto the hub. So don't send it to my email. I want you guys to upload it onto the hub. All right, so that's it for today. So those of you who have been, trying all these problems, I want to say thank you for staying with me the whole time. All right, I will see you guys on Thursday. All right, I'll see you guys on Thursday. So you guys are dismissed. All right, see you later, Heidi. You too.